And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. It's potluck time. This is a part of the show. We go around the table, share our favorite stories of the day. And if you wear blue, it's your cue.
I don't have a story today.
Really?
No, it's
Bradley
Brad.
does.
You got me. It's blue, but I don't wear it as well as you, so I would have defaulted to you also.
We always go together, so that was by default. My bad. Go ahead,
Oh,
Brad.
no worries. I bring you the story of overwhelming Republican support in the Congress, along with all of Congress, by a more than 4-to-1 margin of restricting the NSA's ability to gather information. And for me, this is a really troubling thing, because they named the act, the bill which they passed, the USA Freedom Act, and I think are making a very dangerous confusion between freedom and liberty. The Freedom Act is going to replace the Patriot Act and will massively restrict data collection. It does it because presumably the people who oppose the data collection want personal freedom. Well, here's the thing. Personal freedom is sacred, and it should be. But in a war against terrorism, you don't fight with just personal freedom. It's a war for liberty, and it requires national action. So as much as people may be concerned about individual liberties being eroded a little bit in a war against a massive enemy, I think we're trading patriotism and liberty for small-scale freedom, and that's a very bad and dangerous trade. I get it. You got a gun at home, you can kill a terrorist if they come through the door, but you can't kill terrorism one person at a time. And what worries me is that the impulse toward this new Freedom Act that will restrict the NSA is that in the name of something really well-intentioned, we're making a very big mistake.
The whole name thing, and that's a tremendous argument. One's the Patriot Act, so then the other one's the Freedom Act. It just sounds so similar. Who comes up with these names? Is there a guy that thinks these things up?
Those are very creative.
They're not at all.
Well, as a rule, they tend to mean the opposite of whatever they're selling.
Right.
And I think that was not true as much of the Patriot Act. With the Freedom Act, it's the opposite. There's a real confusion here. There's a fundamental mistake, and I think you see it in the weird bedfellows that have been created from the ACLU that was opposed to the NSA and further right Republicans who make this about personal liberty. At some point, your individual rights are part of something larger called this country that we share. And I think that's a mistake.
Where the argument gets difficult is what you characterize as a small trade-off, right?
Someone else calls a big one.
Somebody else would call a big one. And what I'm always mindful of, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm always mindful of, we have this tendency when we get frightened to lose perspective on what exactly is it that we're trying to defend. Because
that's exactly right.
You know, traditionally
you win
in this
the battle
country,
to lose
it's
the
been
war
more
of what we're
about
about.
just our present lives. It's about what we stand for in this country. And when you see that erode, that's trouble.
I think that's right, and that's why the liberty issue is really important. But that's why it'd also be helpful if the people opposing the NSA data gathering actually had information to support why they're opposed to it. It turns out in the Senate, which has no interest in this, they actually think we need that gathering, and they're getting better briefings from the NSA than the House.
Right.
So that tells you something.
That tells you something indeed. Now I'm going to tell you something because it's my turn. Conan O'Brien did a tremendous skit just last week on who he would cast to play certain presidential contenders and candidates, and we have the tape.
Well, the 2016 presidential election is already such a big story. Get this, TBS is making a made-for-TV movie about it. I got a sneak peek at the casting. I want to share it with you right now. Texas Governor Rick Perry will be played by Josh Brolin's mugshot. Yeah. And South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham will once again be played by Carol Brady. We're all happy about that. Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton will be played by David Spade. That makes sense. And finally, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie will be played by Mama June from Honey Boo Boo.
You can see that coming from about a mile away. But Spade with Hillary.
Perfect. Separated at birth.
That's good. That's good casting, no question. And it made me wonder who would play us, our wonderful Daily Wrap panel, if they made a movie about the show. So let's start off with Rick first. Who would play Rick? Let's see. Of course! It's Jerry Springer. That makes sense. A Tanner Rick, and that completely works. All right. Heather Hansen. Jenny Garner.
That's not bad. I'll take
Yeah,
Alien.
Interesting real picture.
I
about
wanted
it.
Yeah,
the
that's
Daredevil
my
Jenny
work
picture,
picture.
but they wouldn't allow it for the FCC, some sort of violation. And Mr. Hirschfield, who would play him? Of course!
Of course.
It's Saul from Homeland. And he was
You
also
smoked it out.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the resemblance is overwhelming there. If you've got if you get the dark glasses, you'd be all
That's
set.
true.
I actually get stopped about once a week.
Yeah.
And people, so I've come to appreciate it. I hate looking over here. I don't like pictures of myself, but I get it. You got it. Good.
Wow. He looked a lot different in Princess Bride. That's for sure.
Well,
That's
the
for
years have been
sure,
hard
yeah.
on me.
Prepared to die. And how about Conch? What about me? I'll speak in the third person because I can get away with it. Of course.
Yeah,
That's
So
right. Oh
could
my
you
God.
find a worse picture of me, by the way, to put up onto the left, guys? My God.
Picture of everybody.
Wait, which one's me again? Very hard. The guy on the right has won 3 majors in golf. That is Patty Harrington. And I used him as my Facebook picture for 2 years, and not one person questioned it.
That's pretty good.
It's a true story, my
pretty
friends will
good.
tell you. Anyway, when we come back, it's yay or nay. This is the Daily Wrap. Stay right there.